here's the deal. In the realm of healthcare and people who own clinics, the summer kind of has a mixed emotion reputation for all of us. See, we kind of look forward to the break, reminiscent of when we were back in school. But the reality is, a lot of us also feel the pinch of not having consistent patient flow throughout the summer months. What I've come to learn after working with thousands of clinics and being myself a clinic owner is that the summer is actually your secret weapon. This is the season to be very intentional around how you are putting new processes into place. So it's the engine that enables you to hit the ground running once we hit the fall. And the beautiful piece is, if you're intentional about this and understand the 5 core levers inside your clinic, the summer actually moves incredibly strategically for you, but at a very balanced pace. Let me draw it out for you. Okay, so the important thing to understand about your clinic is that there are 5 core metrics that we need to be measuring. So if we're looking at a clinic that is growing over time, we know that there are 5 key things that we tend to have in place. The first thing that we're going to look at, and let's turn this into a triangle for ourselves. Let's leverage the drawing of our, this is going to be really scribbly by the time we are done. Right here along the bottom is where we are going to kickstart the key pieces that we are measuring with respect to your clinic. Now, it's the summertime, so let's talk about this function, and that is paid time off. When we picture a clinic that actually has freedom for us, we are not necessarily wanting to be trading our time for money. We got into the business of owning a clinic and having a clinic so that we could actually experience lying on the beach or sitting on the dock or camping with our family and knowing that money was still coming into our bank account. Paid time off is one of the key metrics we look at when we're assessing the overall health of the clinic. It's one of the areas we need to get intentional about when it comes to the summer. Now, one of the other metrics that we start to measure is the amount of time you spend with clients. If this was a video all about growing an associate practice, we would want to see the amount of time spent with clients increasing over time. But for you as the clinic owner, for you to have paid time off, we need to make sure that we're being really intentional around how we block your calendar, how we drive demand, and how we ensure that your clinic is profitable without you having to see patients. It is this elephant in the room in the clinic industry that your revenue from seeing patients is the thing holding up and propping up the clinic. If we're looking at how we build a sustainable, ascending, growing, leveraged offering, we need to make sure that we are addressing this piece. Your amount of clients needs to decrease over time. Now, for us to be able to go on vacation and get paid, and for us to know that we have a clinic that is actually increasing in size as an asset, we need to address this idea of owner salary. And the cool thing about an owner salary, and knowing this is one of the things that you want to change inside your practice, is that you actually as an owner get paid in 2 separate ways. You should get paid, if your associates are on a 60-40 split, you should get paid on that split as well. So there should be income coming to you for seeing your patients, and not whatever is left over after we've paid all of the bills, but the same as the rest of the associates in your practice. You should be taking home your 60%. 40% will go into supporting the overhead of the clinic. But the other area of owner salary that you're entitled to is the work that you do for actually running the clinic, for being the CEO. And you could pay this as a regular salary as your clinic grows, or this could be a function of profitability. As you hit different profits, you can pull a dividend or you can pay yourself a bonus. But the goal here is that you're actually getting paid twice. And if we have you getting paid twice and you're decreasing clients and you're experiencing time off, we're starting to see more and more leverage within your practice. Now, this feels like a pipe dream, and it means we have to address 2 other things. And I'm going to come to the top of the triangle first. Right here at the top of the triangle is where we talk about overarching revenue. And revenue is one of those sexy numbers, especially in the online space. I've got a 7-figure business. I had 7 figures while sipping champagne underneath the Eiffel Tower. None of that matters if we don't have revenue paired with our profit margin. So these 2 pieces work together, and it's really important that we understand them. And in fact, All of these becoming goals for you during your summer are likely going to be predicated on these two areas of focus. So as we're starting to build out our summer projects, the areas where we can focus as we are building out our next area of intention, let's talk about these two pieces. So when it comes to the revenue side of your business, we get more cash flow coming in when we go and we attract new patients. And we all understand that piece. And there are definitely distinct things that we can do in the summer to attract new patients in. But when it comes to profitability, there's a whole other area of focus that we need to look at. Cash flow driven by new patients. Profit margin is actually driven by retention. And I call this big R retention because the R reminds me that there's also some responsibility here. The responsibility of retention is actually something we should be handing off to our associates. Associates, if they love to sell and they love to get out there, they'd want to own a clinic too. It is the least desirable thing for an associate to do in their job, to sell and try to bring in new patients. But if you tell an associate that where we really need help is for them to be maximally responsible for retaining those patients, well, suddenly we start to see a shift in attitude, because increased retention of patients also means better patient outcomes. And that's ultimately why they got into the business in the first place. So how do we take this messy group of projects here and actually turn them into some intentional things that we're doing in the summer? Well, let's flip the paper so that we can start to draw those pieces out. So one, we're going to come right back to this idea when we have our triangle and these core areas of focus. Let's pick a project that's going to move the needle for you the most. The first question I would ask everybody is, what do you need more of in your life? Do you need more time or do you need more money? And if you're not quite sure or they feel tied, we're going to pick the money piece to solve the time problem any day. So as we're breaking out what these first two projects look like, whether it's a time issue, bottom of the triangle, or it's a money issue, top of the triangle, it helps us differentiate where we're actually going to be putting our intention. So if we want to drive more revenue in your practice, this just means more money coming in overall. Then the summer is a beautiful time to look at two options. One, what our new patient strategy is going to look like in the fall. Design out that campaign now. But the other option that we can think about for the summer is, what does a 4 to 6 week sprint look like inside of your practice? A 4 to 6 week sprint inside your practice might be a matter of sending out an email and saying, I'm looking for 6 people who want to move X metric by Labor Day weekend. Hit reply to learn more. And pick a metric or pick an area where you have an associate on your team with a particular area of expertise. Or if you're really passionate about it, it could be your thing that you want to run with them over the course of the summer. So consider running a 4 to 6 week sprint. Both of these will bring more cash into your practice. This will bring it in sooner, but this is a key planning piece, the new patient in the fall, that we can have a look at. Now, when it comes to the profitability side of things, when we're starting to look at profits, this is where we really want to look at retention. 2 core projects that we can consider in the summer for that is, one, working with our associates during the summer break to develop their own signature care system or methodology. If we've hung around at all, you will know that we have seen a massive transition and need to go from selling our services or our time to selling a system of care or strategy. The beautiful thing about a system of care or strategy is that we typically see 50 to 60% increases in retention of patients. And the summer is a really perfect time to start to create that. The other project that we can start to take on in the summer is that we can actually reach out to the patients that we had worked with before, and we can get them to come back. So the fortune is in the follow-up, and it is way less expensive for you, both in terms of money and time, to reach out to pre-existing patients who already know, love, and trust you, understand how they work, to get them scheduled into the fall, or have them come into your calendar while it's a little bit lighter during the summer. Now, if looking at money is not one of the core areas that you need to focus on right now, and freeing up time is where we need to go, now we're going to start to look at the bottom half of the triangle. And again, let's look at these core areas where we are going to want to focus. So right again here at the bottom is paid time off. If you haven't budgeted for it already, how much time can you take off the summer where you're still getting paid? Or maybe we compromise where you're going to do a little bit of work in the morning and you're going to spend the rest of the afternoon seeing patients virtually. Be creative around how you adjust your schedule for the summer months. Time with clients. The easiest way to create demand, and demand lets you address your rates, is actually to start to compress your schedule. One of the easiest ways to start to do that is to make sure that your schedule is compressed for the summer and you communicate that clearly and in advance. One of the things we do with many of our clients is we actually have them create schedules throughout the course of the year that flux and change. So if you know you want more time with your kids or your family closer to Christmas, make that adjustment in your calendar now. These are really simple administrative projects that can actually set you up for success as you move throughout the course of the year. And then the last area here is owner salary. And the action step associated with this is really starting to understand your own numbers within your practice. What needs to be true within the number of patients you see and your fee schedule so that you are truly benefiting from revenue on that split? And what kind of profit margin do you need to see in your practice so that you are able to pay yourself dividends over the course of the year? So if this sounds like something that you want a little bit of help with, if you would like to dig in deeper in terms of understanding the most strategic projects that you could take on over the course of the year, download our free summer growth map below. This will help you make decisions around where you have the biggest pain points inside your practice. It'll enable you to pick the biggest needle mover project in order to move your practice forward in a slower, gentler, more recovery-focused time of year. And if you want to work strategically to move all of these metrics forward, move your clinic towards a place where it's fully leveraged for you, grab our link below around Growth Lab. We'll show you how we do this on 90-day sprints with hundreds of different clinics to be able to achieve the kind of consistent growth and outcome that gives you options in the future.